When you get surrounded or bombarded with negativity, you have a tendency to look at it, to focus on it. Man, you've really got to replace those thoughts, because I'm telling you, man, you don't have time for that in 2024.
Steve Harvey openly threatens Monique and Katt Williams for exposing his lies.
I didn't want to be a movie star. No, you couldn't be a movie star. There are 30,000 new scripts in Hollywood every year. Not one of them asks for a country bumpkin black dude that can't talk good over KB and look like Mr. Potato Head. There ain't none.
The comedian and Atlanta star Katt Williams rekindled his years-long feud with Steve Harvey, accusing the Family Feud host of failing to crack Hollywood and stealing from another comic. Speaking on Wednesday's episode of the Club Shay Shay podcast, Williams accused Harvey of copying elements of Mark Curry's sitcom, Hangin with Mr. Cooper, while developing The Steve Harvey Show.
That Mark Curry helped me punch up and get to the level that it was. The same Steve that went to go watch Mark Curry do his whole sitcom and then stole everything Mark Curry had. Now Steve got a sitcom where he the principal and he wear a suit and then he gets this high top fade, making all black men think he got the best lineup in the business, and it's a man unit.
Steve Harvey has finally broken his silence on Katt Williams exposing his lies. It appears that Katt's comments really struck a nerve, as Steve is reportedly taking extreme measures to silence not just Katt, but also Monique, who supported Katt's claims and called out Steve for allegedly backstabbing fellow black comedians. During his appearance on Shannon Sharpe's podcast, Club Shay, Katt went on a passionate rant against several comedy heavyweights, including Steve Harvey. Katt accused Steve of lying about being homeless, abandoning his first wife, routinely stealing jokes, and even alleged that Steve harbored jealousy towards the late Bernie Mac, attempting to sabotage his career. Notably, industry figures such as Ed Lover, Monique, and Bernie Mac's daughter supported Katt's claims. Now, Steve is firing back, warning Katt and Monique to keep his name out of their mouths or face consequences. However, it looks like Steve's reaction had the opposite effect, and it only got people to show even more support to Katt and Monique. But what exactly did Steve say in his response? And does this mean everything Katt and Monique said about Steve is true? Let's break it down.
Can't tell you how many times I've wasted trying to help change a person that saw nothing about themselves that needed changing.
If you haven't been keeping up with the latest in the comedy scene, the legendary Katt Williams spilled some serious tea during his recent chat on Shannon Sharpe's podcast. One of his main targets was Steve Harvey. Katt directly called out Steve for swiping material and conspiring with Hollywood higher-ups to ruin his competition. Now Monique has also joined the chat, confirming that Steve has always been a snake and a backstabber. In fact, Monique was one of the first ones to publicly call out Steve for siding with the elites and putting money over principles. This all goes back to 2009, when Monique publicly accused Steve's close friends Oprah and Tyler Perry of blackballing her. According to Monique, the moment she turned down Oprah and Tyler Perry's demands to work for free, headlines started surfacing, portraying her as difficult to work with. Before she knew it, Monique lost multiple roles that had been offered to her after she won an Oscar for Precious. Then Steve went on his radio show and threw Monique under the bus, saying there was nothing he could do for her because she burned too many bridges. However, the main reason Monique felt Steve backstabbed her is that in private, he told her he agreed with her about the whole Oprah and Tyler Perry situation. Then, he went on the air to call her out. Later, when Steve brought Monique to his show to hash things out, Monique called him out for being a coward.
Got labeled as difficult, my husband and I, and my husband is Sydney, who happens to be my manager. We got labeled as difficult because I said one word, and that was no. Now, I said no to some very powerful people. I said no to Oprah Winfrey. I said no to Tyler Perry. I said no to Lee Daniels, and I said no to Lionsgate. And the difficulty came in when people that look like me, like Oprah, Tyler, Lee Daniels, and I gotta put my brother Steve on the list. Y'all knew I was not wrong. Each one of you said to me, Monique, you're not wrong.
Steve tried to backtrack and claimed he was just trying to express that Monique handled things the wrong way, but Monique wasn't having it. She stood firm and told Steve he should have laid out his feelings privately instead of tossing her under the bus for everyone to see.
What I would have appreciated from my brother was had you picked up the phone before you went on the air and said, Monique, you've burned too many bridges and there's nothing I can do. See, I would have appreciated had my brother called me up and said, baby, let's talk. Because you doing that was a part of me being difficult.
Monique also called out Steve for what she perceived as selling out. And although she didn't use those exact words, her sentiments were crystal clear.
And what happens is when you allow people to start taking your freedom and your gift and making it become what makes them comfortable, we then lose. When you called me with the morning show on the phone, I said to you, Steve, my family is suffering behind this. And y'all know I did nothing wrong. Y'all know my husband did nothing wrong. But none of y'all in real time, was strong enough to go publicly and say, we can't throw our sister under the bus.
Steve just couldn't seem to grasp Monique's point about sticking to principles because, according to him, it's all about the money game.
We black out here. We can't come out here and do it any kind of way we want to. Listen to me. Your husband can't be the Sydney that he really is out here.
Let me tell you something.
That flexing,
we
gotta flex a different way. We out here in a game. This the money game. This ain't the black man's game. This ain't the white man's game.
It's the money game.
Monique, however, stood her ground, stating firmly that she wasn't willing to sacrifice her integrity for a paycheck. Steve, on the other hand, has been repeatedly accused of tossing his principals and fellow comedians under the bus. One of the people Steve allegedly tried to sabotage was the late, great Bernie Mac. For years, rumors have been swirling around that Steve couldn't stand Bernie during their time on the original Kings of Comedy. In 2003, Bernie himself confirmed this, telling GQ that Steve was jealous and tried to steal his role in Ocean's 11. Steve reportedly got someone from his team to call Ocean's 11 director Steven Soderbergh and push for Steve to get the part over Bernie. This was when Bernie realized Steve was ready to pull out all the stops to climb the success ladder, even if it meant trampling on those he called his brothers and sisters. On the other side of the coin, Steve denied any attempt to sabotage Bernie, claiming he was hurt by Bernie's comments in GQ. However, Katt Williams put Steve on blast in his recent interview on Club Shay and confirmed that the whole Ocean's 11 incident was 100% true. Katt claimed that Steve hated Bernie Mac, but despite Steve's attempt to snatch up Bernie's movie roles, it never panned out for him because he just didn't have the talent to make it as an actor.
Then you asked it, why you not a movie star? I didn't want to be a movie star. This the same that hated on Bernie with this same thing. I didn't want to be a movie star. No, you couldn't be a movie star. There are 30,000 new scripts in Hollywood every year. Not one of them asks for a country bumpkin black dude that can't talk good Obukabe and look like Mr. Potato Head. There ain't none. You called Ocean 11 to get that part. What do you mean you didn't want to be a movie star? So on the behalf of Bernie, I will have to say what I have to say.
What do you think of Steve Harvey and his comments? Let us know in the comments section below. That's all for this video. Please like, share, subscribe, and turn on the notification for more amazing content. Thanks for watching.